What's up, two viewers? My name is Pax, and I'm speaking facts. And today, we're here to talk to you guys about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm back like scoliosis and halitosis. And today, I'm going to react to some footage that I got out of Minneapolis where ICE agents have taken things a little bit too far with regards to their authority and unalived a civilian. Clearly, she got involved with what they had going on, and they took it upon themselves to escalate things to the point of her losing her life. So we're going to go over here to Live Now from Fox, and we're going to check out the content, and I'm going to leave my colorful commentary along the way. So you guys bear with me as we get over here and find out what's going on. And you guys go over to Live Now from Fox, subscribe to their content, check them out. They've got a lot of things going on and get up to date. So let's go see what they have going on.
Continuing to follow the fatal shooting involving an ICE officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota that happened on Wednesday. We're going to break down the latest regarding this investigation and what comes next, specifically because it does involve a federal agent. So to do that, we're going to be joined by Lance LaRusso. He is an attorney. But first, Asher Red is joining us live from down in Minneapolis with a full breakdown of what we know so far. Asher.
Well, Carol, the Department of Homeland Security is defending.
So that seemed to have been footage that took place yesterday where the woman was clearly involved with ICE to some point, to some degree. And for whatever reason, they tried to approach her vehicle and open the door, and she decided to drive away. Maybe she was alarmed and had no idea what was going on. We're going to find out. But for whatever reason, she decided to drive away, and they opened fire on her.
This ICE agent saying that he was acting in self-defense, but the governor and the city's mayor aren't buying that story. So immigration agents were conducting targeted operations in South Minneapolis yesterday afternoon when 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good appeared to block them in with her car. When agents told Good to get out of the car, DHS Secretary Christie.
Is that what you guys saw? Did you guys see her blocking the ICE agents with her vehicle? I don't know. The footage kind of cut in, at a certain point, so it's speculative. But this picture depicts the scene in a horrifying way. Clearly, this was very graphic in nature, and this is horrible.
Says she tried to run them over, and that's when one of the ICE agents shot and killed Good through the windshield. Secretary Noem is calling Good a domestic terrorist and accusing her of using her car as a weapon.
People need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism.
I'm not sure that qualifies as domestic terrorism. Again, I'm no lawyer. I'm just giving my commentary and my opinion. That bottom look a little heavy, Shout out to her, but there's a lot of cc's of Botox in that bottom lip. It was a little heavy.
But some city officials are calling this murder, saying the ICE agent should be arrested and charged. Within hours of the shooting, hundreds of anti-ICE protesters showed up at the scene, many of them throwing snow and chunks of ice at law enforcement. Mayor Jacob Fry is calling the Trump administration's narrative BS, and he didn't use the acronym.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
That's some really colorful language that he's using. We see that they got the police chief of Minneapolis. We recognize him from the George Floyd situation. Shout out to him. This situation has caused a lot of civil unrest, not only in the state of Minnesota, but around the country. We're starting to see reports come in of civil unrest and protests due to this. Now, the First Amendment does protect your right to go out and protest peacefully. I'm not sure what people consider peaceful, but you guys need to find out what the law clearly defines and protest within the boundaries of the law, because confronting law enforcement and provoking them until someone loses their life or gets hurt is counterproductive.
We do not want you here.
This is just devastating for the community. We can't have people getting murdered in our streets. It's just not right.
Agreed.
And this shooting comes on the heels just days after DHS deployed about 2,000 additional officers to the Minneapolis area. And local and state officials are encouraging people who want to protest to do so peacefully, but the Guard is on standby as a precaution.
So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think deploying 2,000 National Guardsmen to the state of Minnesota, and largely as a result and due to the fact of, some recently uncovered fraud allegations at the highest level in that state? So again, that's speculative on my part. 2,000 National Guardsmen were deployed to the state of Minnesota. That's a fact. And I'm asking you guys, what do you guys think in the comments? Do you guys think that that move by the president sparked civil unrest and led ultimately to this taking place?
Correct.
And then, Asher, I did want to ask you before we bring on our attorney Lance to join us here. I do understand that some of these ramming attacks against DHS officers has actually been on the rise. What do you know about that?
Well, Secretary Noem says that just in recent weeks, we've seen about 100 ramming attacks, people using their vehicles against ICE agents.
That's unacceptable. We as the public, we cannot use our vehicles. We cannot take weapons and take up arms against civil servants, public servants, elected officials, government officials, ICE agents, police. That is not the way to protest. We lose once that happens. This is dividing our nation, and that is not the way to move forward and progress things.
For the ICE vehicles. She says just yesterday alone, across the whole country, there were 4 ramming attacks, 3 of them right here in Minneapolis.
All right, Asher.
Across the country, 3 in Minneapolis.
Sherrod joining us live from down there in the scene in Minneapolis. We certainly appreciate your time. Take care, and we'll check in soon. I do want to transition now, though, to Lance, who is joining us live as an attorney, and you are following this case very closely, Lance. You heard a little bit there, some of the updates that we've gotten, but when you look at this entire situation, what do you make of it in terms of what we need going forward?
Okay, clearly this is a attorney for the police. The background banner clearly outlines that he seems to protect the blue line.
With evidence.
Well, the first thing that struck me was the statement by Senator Schumer that we need a quick and thorough investigation. You can't have a quick and thorough investigation. Those are 2 diametrically opposed concepts. There will be an investigation. There is a tremendous amount of evidence that's in this scene. There's a black box in the vehicle. There's a black box in the vehicle that was hit, crushed, and moved out of the way. There is information from the bystander video. There's a ton of video. There's probably surveillance video. So it seems at this point that this was an active effort to drive a vehicle directly at a uniformed law enforcement officer while disobeying the lawful orders of other uniformed law enforcement officers. It's got to stop. And these attacks have doubled in the past year.
Agreed. If you guys are out there using your vehicles to attack police, to attack any human being, it's against the law. It is deadly, and clearly deadly force can be used against you. However, in this case, we saw the footage. I ask you guys again in the comment section, if you're seeing this, let me know what you think. Did you see that woman use her vehicle as a weapon and point it towards law enforcement and try to weaponize her vehicle? Let me know.
I want to take us out to the live image that we still have of that scene, Lance, while I pose this next question to you. So the fact that this did involve a federal agent, how does that differ from a case in which maybe a local or state law enforcement officer is involved?
This is a vigil. This looks like the scene of where the woman lost her life, and the community has gathered here and created a vigil for her in memory of what took place. And like I said earlier, there's some civil unrest going on in the state of Minnesota and around the country, really. This isn't sitting too well with the community.
So it's an interesting concept, and this notion that we don't want ICE here and they're not welcome in the city. Minneapolis is part of the United States. These officers, federal officers, are working in every city of the United States, and nobody complains when they're rescuing children of sex trafficking, but they just don't like the mission. Well, that doesn't mean they're not welcome there. It doesn't mean they don't have jurisdiction. So if they decide to charge this federal officer with state-level crimes, that officer has a right under the Constitution to move that trial to a federal court. I've been involved in 3 of those cases, one as a use of force expert and 2 as an attorney. Because he's a federal officer performing federal duties, he has a right, if he's charged in a state court, to have those charges heard in a federal court.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. So talk to me about even when we look at some of the video that's obviously.
So the attorney is outlining some of the due process that the ICE agent hypothetically may encounter should he be charged at a state level. Clearly, he's not going to be charged at a federal level. There's already been a narrative, and it's gotten out in front that's taken place of this situation. But to touch on what the attorney is speaking on, that the ICE agent would then be able to request the state courts to move his trial, his charges to a federal court because he's a federal agent.
Going to be used as evidence. A lot of it is circulating along social media. We've had President Trump reacting to some of the video he saw. Also, local officials, lawmakers, and officers there. When we think of an ICE agent, do they have body camera footage that can also be reviewed in this entire case, or are we just relying on witness video?
Some do, some don't. So it depends on the federal agency. It depends on the mission that they're on. But keep in mind that the body camera and the video from the bystanders are never going to tell you the complete story. Body cameras, for example, use a lens that gives a wider angle that allows more video to be captured, but it also is 12 inches to 18 inches below the officer's eyes. So it's not going to show you what the officer saw.
Okay, so we would like for you guys to keep that in mind, specifically when the tables are turned and you guys are using whatever body camera footage as, evidence against the community and making it, specific to the fact that because an officer was wearing body camera footage and it caught whatever it caught, you're literally saying that it's 18 inches away from an officer's face. So I mean, again, it's footage, but it doesn't show and tell the whole story. And I mean, and I agree to that, but I think that should work both ways is my point.
In this case, we do have video from the angle on the passenger side of the car that shows the agent being hit by the vehicle. You cannot drive your car into a human being like that. That clearly was an aggravated assault. It's a violation of federal law. It's a violation of state law. And the important thing to remember here is that agent that was hit was moving across the windshield from passenger side to driver side. So there's no dispute that she was aware he was there, and she had control of her vehicle and should not have moved it forward.
Okay, so we were able to see in the beginning of this, so I just kind of want to go back. You guys bear with me and start at the beginning and kind of just see if if what we're watching lines up with what he just said. So what he's saying essentially is that the woman intentionally pointed her turn the wheels towards towards the officer that shot her through the windshield as he was moving from the passenger side to the driver's side, and at which time he opened fire on her and shot her through the windshield. Now, we're going to watch. This is, again, this is all coming from one angle. I just want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section. We're going to watch this real quick. You guys let me know what you guys think.
Fatal shooting involving an ICE officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota that happened on Wednesday.
So we can see right there that in front of the vehicle on the driver's side, that there's a gun pointed at the windshield already. I can see that there's also an officer trying to open the driver's door of the vehicle. There seems to be a pedestrian or a civilian on the passenger side at the rear of the vehicle, and another vehicle on the passenger side blocking her from turning immediately to her right. The wheels do look like they are turned away from all of the officers. So I'm not really sure what the attorney is referencing. And also, the officer that's getting ready to shoot through the windshield is already, for the most part, clear of the vehicle as it turns right. But you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about this.
Break down the latest regarding this investigation and what comes next, specifically because it does involve.
So the shot just went off. The vehicle is turned away from the officers and clear of all of the agents that we're able to see from this angle.
All the federal agents. So to do that, we're going to be joined by Lance LaRusso. He is an attorney. But first, Asher Red is joining us live from down in Minneapolis with a full breakdown of what we know so far. Asher.
Well, Carolina.
Okay, so that there you guys were able to see. Let me know in the comment section. I just want to go over here for a second and see what's going on. Again, we're going to go over here to Live Now from Fox and check out some more footage and see what they're saying as far as the civil unrest and what's taking place over there in Minneapolis. And we're going to check out, sorry about the technical difficulties. We're going to check out what's going on over here for a second, and let's see what they're saying. This is a live look at some of the things that's taking place in Minneapolis.
Sorry for the cowbell that's in my ear here, but at the same time, what they wanted to do was they wanted to cross the street so that they could block ICE agents from getting into work. Now you see the Border Patrol responded once these people surrounded the gates. There's 3 gates at this federal facility. We're about 4 or 5 minutes from the airport. And when they decided to do that, they decided to make sure that they made it hard for these agents to get into the facility to start their day. We saw several times.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Really, and they're taking this man away right now. So as you see this, they've actually asked now they're pushing again. And this is really, they're firing more pepper balls. So as you see that smoke coming back our direction, I got you.
So we've got the national news out there covering some of this stuff. You guys have, hundreds, if not thousands, of community members here protesting, and it doesn't really look nonviolent. It looks pretty threatening to the ICE agents that are here. They're taking people into custody.
Effie, I have my arm around our photographer here because this crowd is shifting on this ice. There's a lot of pushing and shoving, and people are very angry. We have some people opening their jackets and saying, "Shoot me here, shoot me here." Now they're pulling back the man they arrested in this direction over here.
So that's not good. We have the community out there, provoking the ICE agents that are out there. That's not the way to express yourself, telling them to shoot you. And they're out there deploying chemical agents, pepper balls, non-lethal action that's being taken against the community. But again, it's not something that I would personally consider to be nonviolent. Again, your right to protest is covered in the First Amendment. Regardless of what you think about these situations, you have the right to say and express yourself non-violently and civilly. You can go outside and say what you want to say. But if you decide to confront the police, if you decide to take a stance against an ICE agent, if you decide to, drive away in your vehicle, no matter what the details, the technical details that may play out later, if you decide to make that choice, you could lose your life. These people, the men and women of the federal government, of the police force, regardless of what we personally might think of them, what we might think of them within the community, they have a job to do. And, to surround them and provoke them and scream at them and disrespect them. And again, I've been someone that's done that. I am not speaking against people. I'm not sitting in a seat of judgment. I'm just saying that we have to all do better as a community. We have to work with the police. We have to figure out ways that we can all express ourselves where they can do their jobs and things don't escalate to violence, that where people aren't losing their lives. So that's what I want to emphasize. This is a very tragic situation. I'm not really sure what the legal parameters are concerning the ICE agent using deadly force. But regardless of what I think, regardless of what you guys think, they have a job to do. They were sent there to do a job, and that agent feels like he was doing his job. And while he was doing his job, a member of the community used her vehicle as a weapon, a deadly weapon, and he was left with no other choice but to use deadly force. So you guys get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Y'all can troll me for that or whatever, but there's a much larger issue here. My name is Pat. I'm just here to speak the facts to you guys and shed some light on some of these situations. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, man, take care of each other. Take care of yourself, man, and I'm out of here.